Hey everyone, it's Chris at Sci-Fi Review, and in this episode of Sci-Fi Review, I want to talk about Interstellar, and this is the 4K Ultra HD version. Stay tuned. So, I was cruising Amazon, I saw this. It's $15 on Amazon. I'm like, I can risk that. I've only seen this movie one time. That was when it first came out, and I remember coming away from it going, yeah, that was cool. It wasn't like super awesome, but it was cool nonetheless. So I figured, well, I'll give it another shot. Got it on 4K with, DTS HD. It ought to look and sound good. We'll give it another shot. So I did. So, of course, Interstellar is directed by Christopher Nolan, Dark Knight trilogy, Dunkirk, other stuff, I don't remember. You've got Matthew McConaughey as Cooper. You've got Jessica Chastain as older Murph and Mackenzie Foy as younger Murph. Then you've got the Doctors Brand, Anne Hathaway, and Michael Caine. And I think Tom was played by Casey Affleck. You got John Lithgow as the grandpa. So I don't want to spoil this movie in this review, because if you've never seen it and I spoil it, quite honestly, that's part of this movie. Is you get to the end and they reveal what's going on and you're like, oh my god, I did not see that coming. And if I spoil that for you, you won't have that happen to you. So I'm not going to do it. So there's parts of this I'm going to leave out, and I'm going to do it on purpose. Comments down below, you can gripe me out for that. Speaking of down below, if you like these videos, hit like, hit subscribe to see more of them. Much appreciated. So the plot. So this is in the future of Earth here. There's been a lot of problems on Earth. It's kind of assumed you got global warming. You got some disease took out, like the world's wheat crop basically wiped it out. There's another one attacking other crops. There's another one starting to attack corn. You've got huge dust storms coming through and wreaking havoc on the world. In a kind of foreshadowing moment, there's this scene in the school where the teachers are like, oh, we don't teach that, we actually landed on the moon anymore. It was faked for propaganda purposes. And I'm sitting here going, oh my god, dude, you were telling the future back then. I don't know if you knew, I don't know, but I'm sitting here watching this going, dude, that was kind of a crystal ball moment, if you ask me. But anyway, the plot. So yeah, so like I said, they're on this farm doing the farmer thing, right? And Murph is a kid. Her books start falling off of a bookshelf in her room, and she being a nice scientific-minded little kid, like all little kids are, right? She's like, oh, I have a ghost. And her dad's like, no, it's not a ghost. You need to observe, pay attention. So she starts recording everything and comes to the conclusion that, no, it's not a ghost. Somebody's trying to tell me something with these books. They're like a pattern going on here. And then there's this huge dust storm. They left the window open, and the dust falls in a certain pattern on the floor. And now Dad's like, okay, maybe there is something here. They decode this pattern on the floor. It's supposed to be like a binary message into a set of map coordinates. They drive to these map coordinates, which just conveniently happen to be nearby, apparently. It's NASA. Got this secret base under this cornfield, I guess, run by the Doctors Brand, the elder and the younger. You got Michael Caine and Anne Hathaway. And they're hatching this plan to take off and find these other planets that are, oh, by the way, like 70 years ago, there's this wormhole we observed around Saturn, and we didn't tell anybody because we didn't want to cause a panic. Okay, that's cool, right? And inside this wormhole, we're getting things back. We can see other planets that might support life, human life. So it's like, okay, cool. We're going to make these missions, the Lazarus missions. We're going to send these people out to scout these planets and report back. So they're getting signals back from these other planets. And the Endurance mission that they're going to recruit Cooper for is to go there and find these signals, find out which one of these planets is actually habitable. One thing leads to another. There's lots of emotional scenes with Murph. Oh, please don't leave. All the stuff. I mean, it's relevant, and I don't want to get too much into it because that will spoil the ending, and I don't want to do it. This is going to be hard for me to do this without spoiling the ending, because there's lots of pieces that are involved, and if I put them together, you're going to go, oh, I get it now. Yeah, sorry guys. So yeah, there's a 2-year trip to the wormhole from Earth that's around Saturn. So they're spending that in cryostasis. You know, they get a bunch of messages in that time. The opportunity for more, you know, good emotional scenes, right? They go through this wormhole. They get to the first planet, which is near this black hole they call Gargantua. They come up with this scheme to land on the surface as quickly as possible because the gravitational pull of Gargantua is so strong that it's going to dilate time via relativity so much that even if they're only gone for like 2 hours back on the ship, it's going to be like 7 years or something, right? Yeah, that's actually a thing. Here's the deal. I'm disclaimer right now. I actually have a degree in physics. I've done the math on relativity. Yeah, this all checks out. The problem is, well, we'll get to that in a minute. So they go down to the planet, find this beacon that's been sitting there in like 2 feet of water. The entire planet's covered in like 2 feet of water. That's interesting, isn't it? They notice these mountains, except they're not mountains. They're waves that are like hundreds, thousands of feet tall. Oh, shit. Get back on the ship. The red shirt, you know, gets killed. They have to leave the data behind. They go back up to the ship, right? Not 7 years. It's been 23 years on the ship. Okay, now this is where I have a problem. Like I said, I've done the math on relativity and stuff. There's a problem with this particular segment of the movie. This beacon that's on the planet, the radio signals have to get off of this beacon and get through the wormhole to Earth, right? If time dilation is that strong, those radio signals are going to be redshifted so hard that nobody's going to be, number one, looking for them in the frequency range that they're going to be redshifted to. And number two, they're probably going to be so weak and degraded by that point with the redshifting, and there's power things going on with EM waves, radio waves. You know, everybody praises the science of this movie, and they're right, because there's a lot of science in there, and there's a lot of good science in there, but this part, for me, was a big, yeah, the radio signals would have never got back to Earth. They probably would still be, yeah, they'd been redshifted so bad. Yeah, I know, you try to throw a concept like that out in a movie, and people are going to go, what? You know, they won't get it. You'd say, oh, time slows down in gravitational well. Okay, I can live with that. You start explaining, you know, redshift and how it affects radio waves and light and this sort of thing. You know, I mean, light can't escape a black hole because of this, right? It's the same thing. The light radio waves are just light, and, you know, EM wave, it's all the same thing, part of the spectrum. Same thing would happen on this planet around this black hole. Them radio waves aren't going anywhere. And when they do, they're going to be so stretched out. I can't remember. Yeah, the frequency would have been, yeah, it would have been impossible to even pick them up, probably. Okay, we can let that go. But then let's talk about the 23 years this ship has been, you know, sitting above them. I guess Romilly, the guy they left up there, you know, spent a lot of it in cryosleep. So it's like, okay, you can kind of write off the where he get food for 23 years. But I would think the station would just decay, and just, or the ship, you know, would just decay, and just things would break, and you wouldn't be able to fix them. It's kind of a, oh, isn't that convenient? It's been 23 years. Let's just keep going. Yeah, I don't know. So then it's been 23 years. They move on to the next planet. You know, the 23 years too, you know, they realize, oh God, everybody on Earth's aged at least 23 years, if not like more. They, of course, get to 23 years worth of messages. Again, there'd be some frequency stuff going on with radio signals. It would be, they wouldn't have got them these messages in the first place, but, you know, it's neither here nor there. Lots of emotional stuff there. Not going to get into it. Next planet, they find Dr. Mann, played by Matt Damon, in cryostasis. He apparently just sealed himself up in there with no timer. He's just until somebody found him or he died. Fair enough. And, well, let's just say he's got other plans. And this is where, well, okay, let me spoil this for you. He's got other plans. He just decides he's going to go wreck the mission. He almost does. And then Cooper kicks off Anne Hathaway's Dr. Brand to return to Earth or to wherever while he and Tars, the cool robot, go directly into the black hole. Yeah, I said that. They went directly into the black hole. And I'm like, okay. They throw out this throwaway line earlier in the movie. Well, oh, if we do it fast enough, we'll actually survive. Probably not, but okay, it's a movie. We'll give you that. They go into the black hole, and all the secrets of the movie are revealed. Basically, there's this big five-dimensional world that they try to represent. Trying to think how not to spoil this for you. And kind of this thing about, well, how would we even comprehend that? And the answer is we wouldn't. Our brains wouldn't even be able to comprehend 5 dimensions, let alone our physical beings, our atoms wouldn't even be able to exist in this space. Okay, it's a movie. Yeah, it's a movie. What am I leaving off? Oh, and of course, this is Christopher Nolan, so, it's very serious and somber most of the time. There are some lighthearted moments. It's not nearly as bad as some of his other stuff. It's not like you walk out there going, God, that was depressing. Dunkirk was kind of that way. It's just how he is. You just have to suck it up and deal with it. It's so serious and somber, and yeah. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. This movie, it's like, yeah, I get it. It works. So yeah. There's a lot of nods to Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey. There's at least 3 big ones, maybe even 4 or 5. But so you've got, number one, there's the soundtrack. There's a lot of parts of this movie with this big space scenes where you go, wait, that sounds like the organ, this background ambiance music. That sounds like 2001, and that's like a big one there. You've also got these robots. They look like, when they're folded up in their flat form, I guess, they basically look like the monoliths from 2001, right? They're just big slabs of whatever, and then they kind of move. It's kind of a cool concept, it's like the robots, what do they care if they have arms and legs, right? And then we get to the third one, which it involves these robots. They're kind of a evolution, if you will, of HAL. They've even got, letter names like the one they have, TARS and CASE, they're 4-letter names instead of 3. And they're kind of these HAL-like robots, except they throw around how their, settings are, you can alter their settings to try to control their personalities. And it's like, okay, too bad HAL didn't have that. We could turn up the honest, you instead of just leaving it up to HAL to decide what to do, you could have tweaked those, and yeah, that sounds like a cool idea, right? And you go, yeah, those are cool nods to 2001. I don't know if Nolan, I don't think he thought he was on the level of Kubrick. I don't know. I don't think this movie is on the level of 2001. I just don't. It's a good epic movie. It's almost 3 hours long, but it's good. It's not terrible. It's pretty good. I mean, good enough that I'm going to give it a 4.3 out of 5 just because of the effects. Oh, another part, Nolan did this on Dunkirk too, and he did this on Interstellar, was he switched between filming technologies, if you will. There's a lot of this that's shot in 235 standard, I don't know, letterbox, the widescreen format, and then you'll notice it changed to full screen, and those were the scenes that they shot using IMAX. There's different cameras, different whatever for IMAX. Those were the scenes that were shot in IMAX, and I almost wish I had seen this in IMAX now, because it was like, yeah, that probably would have been pretty cool. Problem is, there's some parts of the movie where this constant switching back and forth of aspect ratios, it gets distracting because they're switching back and forth between these scenes, and it's like full screen, letterbox, full screen, letterbox, full screen, and it's like, whoa, all right, just pick one, Yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. This is 4K, right? So, like I said, I've only ever seen this once before. I don't have the history to compare previous versions like I did with 2001. All I can say is this looks really good. There is grain noticeable in it, which is fine. That's a movie. That's supposed to happen. The sound is not Atmos. It's DTS HD. I still get the height stuff going on, and it's really, really good. There's a lot of range in this movie. I found myself having to constantly tweak the volume to hear some of the quiet parts and then turn it back down when everything started shaking, because the LFEs were so strong it was literally shaking stuff off my shelf. I had to turn it back down. It's like, whoa. So yeah, warn you on that. There's a lot of range in the audio. Like I said, it looks really good. There's a lot of color in there. The whole thing's kind of got a muted. It's not as vibrant like 2001. You had a lot of very bright colors. I'm sitting here, after I was done, I was like, yeah, it kind of has a muted, I don't know what you want to call it. It doesn't have the vibrancy as much, but there's a little bit of muting going on. You know, color palettes and color, there's a word for it that escapes my mind right now. Grading, the color grading stuff going on. And you can tell that's going on here. You know, they didn't do that kind of stuff when it was filmed because it would have been too hard to do. I mean, they did some, but, you know, whatever. Anyway, 4.3 out of 5. If you've never seen Interstellar, give it a shot. Be prepared for 3 hours of, you know, some sciencey stuff, a lot of woo-woo. Oh, love is some kind of dimensional thing we can measure, and, you know, it's like contact people across dimensions, and it's like, well, okay, you know, I guess you're trying to appeal to some other audience or factor. I don't know. That kind of stuff in the movie was like, well, okay. And like I said, the ending. I really want to tell you guys how it ended, but if you've never seen it, I don't want to be the one to wreck it for you. Go out there and watch it. You'll see what I'm talking about. Then when you watch it again, you'll see the things that happen early in the movie, and you'll be like, oh, yeah, okay, I see exactly what's going on. It all makes sense now. And it will. So Interstellar, 4K UHD, go pick one up. I'll put the link down here below. And to my article on sci-fi review.com. Thanks for watching.